Welcome to Chatting with Ashley. Today I want to see if you've ever experienced a similar scenario. So imagine you have something important that you need to talk to your spouse about. You know it's going to be kind of a touchy subject, so you've prepared in advance. You've planned your words. You know what you're going to say and how you're going to say it. And you show up and you express whatever it is. I've noticed that our spending has been a little out of control this month, or I'm concerned about our kids, or I have this concern, whatever it is. You present it to them, and they respond in a way that kind of feels like an attack. Well, you're not perfect either, and if you would just be more patient, or if you would see all the things that I'm doing, then all of that would be different. And when they're attacking you, well, that doesn't feel good. So your response is, well, I'm just doing the best that I can here, and if you would just give me a little bit of help, then maybe everything would be different, and maybe we'd be able to solve these problems, but I'm just left here with nothing, and so I don't know what else I can do. I have nothing to do about it. And when they hear that, well, then they turn it around and say, well, what about this and this and this? These are all of the things. These are all of the ways that I'm already doing that. This is what's happening. And it's getting to where it feels like a contention rather than a conversation. And so you switch and say, you know what? Never mind. I will figure it out. I'll take care of it. It won't be a problem. Never mind. Pretend like I never brought it up. Have you ever felt this kind of interaction? Afterwards, you leave just feeling drained rather than feeling like you've had this good positive interaction with your spouse, or you guys really problem solved and worked well together. You just feel stuck. You feel off. You feel like you've been talking in circles. And you might even have body sensations. I think your throat might be tight. Your neck or your shoulders or your back might be a little tense. Maybe you're even feeling sick to your stomach. These interactions are so frustrating, and they're so common they even have a name. This is called the dreaded drama triangle. It was developed by Stephen Karpman, and what it is a theory for how humans interact with each other as well as themselves, or how they face problems. But we're going to talk about the how they interact with each other piece of that. So Stephen Karpman proposes that we play 3 different roles in these interactions. The first role is persecutor. Persecutor role, they are pointing out all of the things that someone else is doing incorrectly. They are saying, you're failing here. This isn't what's happening. I like to sum it up with the words, they disparage other people's worth. Point out all of the things that are wrong about that person. In our beginning example that we talked about, the persecutor was the person that said, well, what about you? You're not perfect either. If you could just see all the things that I'm doing, then it would be different. That's persecutor. The next role is victim. The victim is the person who only sees all of the problems and doesn't see a way that they could change anything. So in that example that we talked about, they were the ones that said, well, I've already done everything that I can and I can't do anything more. And if you would just solve these problems, then it would be better. I like to sum that one up with they disparage themselves and their own ability. And then the last role is the rescuer. The rescuer person just tries to solve the problem. Conflict maybe isn't their favorite. They're usually able to see how problems can be solved. They have that good reasoning. And since they can see how problems can be solved, they just go, I'll take it on and I'll get it done. And I'll solve the problem. I'll stop us from being in conflict. I'll make sure it all happens. I'm not really sure you can do it anyway, because I already know how to solve the problem, so I'll just get it done. We can sum that one up with they disparage other people's ability. I'm not sure if they can trust somebody else to be able to get it done. Those are the 3 roles: persecutor, rescuer, and victim. And when we're in these roles, we really are just kind of playing a role. It's not open and honest communication. In fact, it's not really communication, because it's this facade that we've adopted in our life, because at some point when we were growing up, when we put on that role, it was able to fulfill our needs. Whatever need that we had in that moment, that role would get it fulfilled for us. So in these conversations, we have a knee-jerk one that we kind of start off with. That is our go-to drama triangle role. And if that one doesn't seem to get our needs met, then we might jump around. You'll notice in that first example, the person began as persecutor. And then we had another moment where they switched into victim. There was a moment where the first person went from victim to rescuer to persecutor, that we jump around to try to get our needs met. But the reason Stephen Karpman named this the dreaded drama triangle is because of that word drama. Think about reality television and how there's really not a plot that's happening. No real things are getting done. It's all just drama. The same thing's happening in our conversations when we're playing a role in the drama triangle. No real communication is happening. It's all just drama. It's all just stuff that we're putting out there in an attempt to get our needs met. And we all do this. We don't have to feel guilty or embarrassed or ashamed. This is something that we all do. It's part of who we are. But once we start recognizing this is the roles that I fill in the drama triangle, this is what it feels like for me to be in the drama triangle, this is what I'm doing when I'm in the drama triangle. Once we have that awareness, then we're able to take some tools and apply them to our conversations to get us out of the drama triangle so that we're able to have healthy communication with not just our spouse, but with our children, with our bosses, with ourselves. When we get out of the drama triangle, we're able to solve problems and we're able to make things happen. So for the next little bit, we're going to talk about the different roles of the drama triangle, the special abilities that each person plays in those roles, and how we can use those skills, those abilities in a healthier way to have healthier conversations with each other. If you have any questions about the drama triangle, let me know. Put them in the chat there, in the comment box, and we'll chat about it for sure. But for right now, start paying attention. Start paying attention to your conversations. You probably won't catch yourself right in the middle at the very beginning, but it will be later that day, the next day, where you'll go, oh, the reason I felt so drained after that conversation, the reason something felt off was because it was a drama triangle conversation. And start paying attention to the sensations you have in your body when it's a drama triangle conversation, to those things that trigger you to go into those roles. When something's said and you immediately want to rescue, pay attention to that and how that feels and what your knee jerk is, and just start building that awareness. If by some miracle you're able to catch it in the middle of a conversation, which is really hard to do, it takes some time, it takes some work, but if you're able to, remember that no real communication is happening anyway, so just pause. Put a pause on the conversation and take a breath. Reconnect with the spirit, reconnect with your goal, remember the positive things that you appreciate about your spouse, and shift slightly and just take that breath. And then you can start again. Pause and take that breath as many times as you need to start again and to start building that recognition in your mind that we don't communicate when we're in drama triangle. So we're going to pause and we're going to try something else. And we'll be back in the next few weeks to talk more about each of the roles, how to get yourself out of it, what it looks like when you are out of it, and what conversations can look like when two individuals are healthily communicating with each other. Thanks for joining me tonight on Chatting with Ashley. And remember that you're not crazy and you're not alone.